China's tech giant Huawei has seen its revenue growth accelerate and profit margin widen in the first half of the year. Year-on-year revenue rose 3.1% to $43 billion. This comes as the company tries to, of course, navigate those United States sanctions. Huawei's profit margin rose to 15% for the half year, which comes on top of 4.3% in the first quarter. While continuing to push its smartphones, Huawei has turned its attention to selling network infrastructure to businesses, including things like hospitals and car rental companies. The focus appears to have paid off, with the infrastructure unit contributing around half of its total sales revenue. Let's talk to Marc Ostwald, Chief Economist and Global Strategist at ADM Investor Services. Marc, what do you make of these results?
It's quite impressive overall. I mean, the net profit for Huawei has tripled. They've basically seen revenue up for the first time since 2020. And they're clearly starting to show the results of that reorientation as a result of the US and to a large extent also many countries in Europe banning them, particularly in the mobile infrastructure market, and also diversifying substantially their business in areas which, I think, particularly for all companies involved in this type of business around the world, there is so much opportunity in digitalization. It's about really just managing the situation, which Huawei clearly are doing very well.
But that's been a big task, hasn't it? Changing tech like this. How much has changing strategy and diversifying been part of this success?
Well, I think now that they're getting into this digitalization of things like ports, of power generation is absolutely going to be critical going forward, both to try and mitigate climate change effects and as a business in general. Digitalization of infrastructure is going to be a booming business, not only in China, but around Asia and around the rest of the world. The sad part of this is obviously that to a large extent, we're not seeing any co-development, which has been basically part of the whole technology boom that we've had over the 30 years. And that actually probably is, in the longer run, going to be for everyone inflationary.
How does the company navigate the coming year? I'm thinking about the slower-than-expected economic rebound in China, presumably ongoing sanctions. It's not going to be plain sailing here on in, is it?
No, it's not going to be plain sailing, but there was certainly a very important part of the results that they reported today was they and Apple are the only companies which reported increases in smartphone shipments during Q2. That's really quite an achievement for a company which has some of its marketplace limited by those sanctions. And I think that they're obviously the other part is the moving into cloud services. They're catching up now with the big beasts of Alibaba and Tencent, which is a huge achievement, one would have to say, because try and catch up with them is not easy.
Given the global slump in the smartphone market, how does the company get ahead there?
Well, it's definitely going to be having to look at Asia. To a certain extent, obviously, there'll be limitations on what it can do in India. India is obviously trying to focus production of pretty much everything much more at home than buying in from abroad, but it still needs people to help them. And Huawei is going to be a key company in that area. So I think diversification within Asia is definitely going to be one of the key growth areas.
Marc, good to see you. Thanks so much for coming on the programme. Marc Ostwald, Chief Economist and Global Strategist at ADM Investor Services.